tine kufara kutsamira mumaoko ake chikomborero runyararo kutsamira mumaoko ake kutsamira mumaoko ake a Jesu kutsamira mumaoko ake a Jesu kunodzatira kufamba mzira kutsamira mumaoko ake nzira yapenya zuva nezuva kutsamira mumaoko ake kutsamira mumaoko ake a Jesu kutsamira mumaoko ake a Jesu chinyi ndinozva nekuti nzira kutsamira mumaoko ake ngerunyararo ntenzi wapedyo kutsamira mumaoko ake
Welcome to this week's edition of Woman to Woman. I'm your host Maureen Ngwenya. Makadiko vadiwa vateereri nevatariri vechirongwa chedu pano pa Woman to Woman patoti everyone has a story and your story is not my story, but story yako yakatikoshera pano pa Woman to Woman. Without your story this program would not be, but because you keep coming, you keep giving us stories, we find energy yokuramba tichidzoka pano pa set tichizokupai dzimwe nyaya. Toda kutenda regai ndigare ndakuchingamidzai mese nekukufarirai nekuza kutoti zvechokwadi kana makatotarisa kuti Mwari vatiitira nyasha tese tiri vapenyu. Tisati tapinda munyaya yedu yanhasi ndine kana chaningati vanhu vandikuda kukwazisa uyezve nechiziviso chimwe chinotisuwisei. Ndisati ndakwazisa vanhu maybe regai ndikuudzei kuti muchiri kurangarira mukomana watakamboita programu yake anonzi Piyo anga ari kuhospital for 1.5 years. Vanhu vakaita chipatapata vakatenga machine vakatumira nemari dzesola zvikatengwa zvese achigadzira kubuda muchipatara. Saka anga ari pakati pekuexercisa kuti vaonoti madoctors vaonoti anogona kurarama here for maperiods akaita sei vachimonita kuti vazomureleasa. Ari panguva iyo ndo paakabatwa neflu achibva ashaya. Saka tine urombo vese vaiteerera nyaya yaThiyo. Kana musina kuiona dzokerai munotsvaka nyaya yaThiyo. Ai mukomana akatouya panapa neambulance ane magas tanks achiratidza kuti ari pachomanikidza cheupenyu. Saka toda ngokutendai nekuzviextenda kwamakaita kumhuri yekwanaThiyo. Mwari akuitirei zvakanaka. Regai ndikwazisewo zvekare munongoziva zvinoita upenyu, vamwe vachirwara vamwe vachiita sei, but tinongoramba tichikuchingamidzai nekufarirawo vamwe vanenge vakateerera. Tina vamadziva vanobva kuBulawayo toda kutendai nekutarira nekuti pafeedback pachirongwa cheWoman to Woman tina Chidyiwa Prosper ari kuSomalia anosapota maprograms ewoman to woman, tina Stella Kavura, tina Kennedy Mataga and wife vari kuIsrael vakandisendera message, tina Mai Charumbira kuBotswana, tina Pilile Mpande kuSA. Anhu atoda kutenda nokwasa hamusemi mega sekuimbisa kwandogara ndichiita kuti every program tichawana zvikamu nezvikamu zvevanhu vatinenge chikwazisa. Handigoni kukwazisai mese endozati vamwe matarisira nguva yareba kuti munzwe mazita enyu, but list redu rakarebesa, asi musakuoneke, ndinokufarirai ende mameseji enyu ndinoaona. Ndofunga mese munotenda kuti kana ukandisendera meseji handiregi kupindura. Saka nhasi muchirongwa chedu ndine muenzi wandinaye. Muenzi uyu takasangana padei rataicelebrata muna June rinonzi International Widows Day, ranga ririko musi wa23 June, rakaitika paHarare Gardens, and 600 widows, over 600 widows attended that day, and we just want to extend our warm thank you, toda kutenda our heartfelt gratitude to organizations that extended themselves to make this day a success. We had organizations akawanda nema individuals akawanda akati supporta, vamwe in cash, vamwe in kind, vamwe havasati vatopedza kuti wimbisa kuti vachatibatsira sei for our next year 23 June, because 23 June every year inotonzi International Widows Day, and tichikurudzira kuti kumachechi kupi kwamuri dzimhuri ingocelebrate iwo widow, ingoencourage iwo, iiteiwo take out, ingoiwisha iwo well, ingoirovera iwo maoko widow kwainenge iri. Kana magona kuencourage kuti iende kune vamwe zvakanaka, izvozvo mukaibhadharawo mari ikamboendawo kuholiday, chinhu chakanaka. Saka International Widows Day mukana wekuti as communities dzakakomberedza chirikadzi tingokutendai. Saka isusu toda kutenda. Ndine timu ndikasaritenda nekuda kweInternational Widows Day yedu yakabudirira yeCircle of Comfort, ndinenge ndaita utsinye. Regai ndingomenshena madzimai anosvika 19 vakafoma team, vanga vari part of the team yevanhu vakaita kuti zviendeke kuCircle of Comfort. Tina Lilian Chikwai, tina Vena Buka, Martha Mpakula, Enstole, Konibusa, Fungai Jganda, Marilyn Kuzvinzwa, Juliet Mtakati, Nomsaisho Kunze, Joyce Munyanyi, Nora Mkahlera, Diana Mpofu, Leonard Liwayo, Linda, Nancy Mahachi, Susan Rusuke, Wadzanai Vere, Irene Saungweme na Josi Mklegi. Ndiyo timu yakaita kuti zvibudirire. Saka nokuda kwokuti takaita deiro rakabva ratisanganisa nemunhu watina, regai ndimboti akukwazisei abvatudzwa kuti ndiani uye ari kubva kupi.
Makadiwa tereri, linjani balaleli.
Yebo.
Mina igama lami nguFortune Mpofu Ntsosa. I'm a mother of two, and also I'm a widow. My husband passed away.
I didn't want you to quickly tell them you're a widow because, you don't look like one.
People, they always say
they
that.
They always say that, right?
They always say that. But it's one thing that I'm not even scared to talk about. But it's...
You look so young. And, I don't know why people always say, you don't look like a widow. I don't know what a widow should look like. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yes, you're a mother of two.
I'm a mother of two. I'm 40. I'm 40 years now. I turned 40 in March.
Oh.
And yes, I turned 40 in March.
Welcome to Woman, Mpofu. Mpofu is your maiden name, right?
Yes.
Mpofu. All right.
But I'm married in Botswana, or if I can say that, from Ntsosa family.
Ntsosa family. It's a big family, right?
It's a very big, very, very big family.
Yeah, because I'm not Tswana, but that name rings a bell.
A bell, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for coming to Woman. We have plenty of stories.
Thank you so much
plenty of stories to discuss. And the thing that comes quickly to my attention is the book that is sitting before me here.
Yes.
This book has a beautiful title and cover. Maybe for the sake of our audience, they need to see this book. Yes. We met, what was that studio? Where was that?
It was NRTV.
NRTV.
Yes.
Yes, and we were sharing our stories just before the International Widows Day.
Yes, yes.
And we connected because we had been invited, and as authors we met. We exchanged the notes, and today I think we are going to hear a lot more of her journey as a widow and also as an author. What I wanted to find out is upumapi.
Mina ngiphumelwa Gweru.
Oh, okay.
Ngazalwa eLwagweru, ubaba wami mina ngoyilwagweru.
Senze lutho abantu abaselwagweru la bazibona ukuthi la baya
babingelelo. Mina ngiphumelwa Gweru emishini.
Emishini kanye.
Emishini kanye.
Kanti indawo ungumsabatha?
Mina ngumsabatha qho.
Serious?
Ngingumsabatha.
Hayi, okay. So bese ngisho ukuthi wakhulele eLwagweru. Wafunda khona?
Mina ngafunda eGweru, mina ubaba wami wayehlala eGweru.
All right.
Mina ubaba wami wathatha umama wami mina nguMasithole. Umchangani mina umama wami.
All right.
Umchangani, and she's half South African, half Zimbabwean.
And we are connecting on so many levels here, and not just as widows. 1, 2, we are Gwerurians. 3, we have some lineage, some blood, some South African blood somehow, somewhere.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm also an author like you are, and now we are sitting in this conversation.
Yes.
I want to know, how are we? Have you ever seen any story on Woman to Woman? Have you ever watched any of my stories, or you are the story here today? Today
I'm the story, and from today I'm going to keep on following the stories from Woman to Woman.
There are just so many. There are just so many. Actually, I always tell people, the circle of comfort is a circle that was born out of the stories of widows. So the widows just gravitated towards each other, formed these groups, this big group, this circle, which is now more than what? 2,000 widows, because the widow is created every single day. Even as we see, there's someone who's being widowed, and we cannot continue connecting. We are going to continue connecting. Well, back to your story.
Yes.
So you are an author. This is very interesting. I look at everything when I look at the book.
Yes.
It's got a broken glass.
Yes.
Can you walk us through a bit about this? The picture, the color, the black, the red. Did you think of these things, or it was just what is it here that you wanted to be here?
Okay. The broken glass. The inspiration came because this was a photo. It was a photo of me and my husband.
Oh. Yes,
it's a photo of me and my husband. So I had to speak to my designers of the book. Then I said, you know, this photo, this picture, I want it to be now a broken glass. You know, there are 2 people who are in that mirror, but unfortunately, when that mirror broke, the other part got shattered. I say kui part liana. So when I picked it, when I was looking at myself, only my part was the only one which was left. And that one now I tried by all means to patch it on, but I couldn't. So now it's only that face that is left. It's only that part of mine which is left now. It's only that remaining person now there on the mirror. The other one is gone.
I like your thought process. What inspired this book? Healing after a sudden loss. And a sudden loss. What inspired your book? Is it the sudden loss or something deeper than that?
It's the sudden loss that I experienced. It's one experience that was the most painful part of my life. Imagine you are married today. Kumnandi emshadweni, kumnandi. You are in your honeymoon phase, kumnandi. And then,
how long had you been married when you lost your husband?
I met my husband when I was 20.
You were young?
Yes, we were still young by then. We were still young, and then we had our firstborn in 2004. And then I had my last one in 2008. And then he passed on in 2017.
2017?
Yes.
Yes, it was only, what, 16 years? 16 years. And it's like, the way you said it,
short.
You were still, yeah, it was very, I don't think you ever feel like I was long in the marriage or whatever. No matter how many years, it feels life is very short.
It's very short.
Okay, would you like, if you don't mind my asking?
Yes.
What happened? If you're comfortable telling us.
I'm 100% comfortable.
Awesome. So yeah, let me relax. Give us everything.
Everything.
It's your story.
Yes. My story is in 3 days. It's just a 3-day story. Yes, it's just a 3-day story. Inimurumu wangu anamborwara. Akazange gule. But it's when I look at it now, or when I look at it now, it's something that even if when I try to think about or to analyze, it's something that is, I don't know. Because it was in June, the first week of June, my in-law, my mother-in-law was not feeling well. When she was not well, you know, she was so worried to the point that, you know, she couldn't even walk or do anything. We tried by all means to help her out, to take her to the clinic, but, you know, nothing was coming out okay. That was the first week of June. And then the second week of June, and by that time, it was time, we were watching, it was time, World Cup.
The World Cup.
Yeah, World Cup. So I remember the second week, that week, all of a sudden, my mother-in-law, she became okay. She just became okay from nowhere, because we didn't even take her to the hospital. No, but she just became okay. And then I remember this other day when I came with my husband, we're coming from work. The minute we got inside the house, you know, I saw my mother-in-law was sitting in the lounge, and I had to rush to go and check. She's just sitting there. What is happening? She was not well when I left her. She was in bed, sick. But now she's just sitting there. She's okay. So I was rushing to see if she's okay or if anything happened. So when I got there, by the minute when my husband came into the house at the door, when he just stepped inside, and then you
were together, you were coming from work
together. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then when I got in first, and then when he came, you know, so from nowhere. So when he got there, he just screamed and said, and then I was like, from Norway. And then he said, from Norway. And then I rushed to him, now leaving my mother-in-law now, rushing to him. Okay, where is it painful? What is happening? And then he said, you know what, please, can I sit down? I just want to sit. He sat on the couch. So when he sat on the couch, something you know, that he did, that up to now I still wonder. He said, please, can you go and take a blanket for me? Take a blanket for me. Please run. Go and take a blanket. Imagine then I rushed in our bedroom to go and I took a fleece blanket. And then when I came with it, he said, please cover me. Then I covered him. Then he said, just cover me from head to just the whole body.
Cover me the
whole body. And then I'm looking at my mother, and then I'm like, what is happening? What is going on? And then she was just looking at me, and I was like, And then I covered him. Because the way now he was speaking to me, it's like he had anger in him, or what was happening, I couldn't understand. And then I covered him. When I covered him, he just kept quiet. And then he said, let's just keep quiet. And then we just said, then kept quiet. Then I removed the blanket and I said, no, what is this? What is this? Because to me, I removed the blanket. And then I sat down, and then we sat down, and then my mother-in-law was like, what is happening? You know, she was asking him, what is happening? Then he said, I don't know, but something weird happened to me. I don't understand what it is, but I'm not okay. I'm not okay.
And he was not okay from the moment he stepped into the house?
He stepped in the house. You remember when we left in the morning, we were okay. But when we came back, that's when all that drama happened. And by that time, he was supposed to go back to work to go and fix something at work. So my mother-in-law said, no, you know what, I have medication, go and take medication, let's give him and see if he's okay. Or maybe khala, it's inyong, maybe inyong or something like that. Then I said, you think so? Then I rushed, and then I had to take medication for that. And then we gave him. And then that's when he went back to work. He drove back to work. But unfortunately, he came back again. When he came back this time, he was not driving. His friends were driving him. They brought him back. And then they said he's not well, he's sweating. You know, it's like they couldn't even understand what was happening with him. And then by that time, it was on a Thursday. That Thursday, when he came back, we prepared and then we drove somehow sesibhedlela. We took him to clinic to see the doctor. And when we went to see the doctor had to put drips on him. And then he checked him, but unfortunately...
What is the doctor saying? He was okay, but was he vomiting? Why is the doctor putting drips?
He was not vomiting. He was not vomiting. They just had to put drips to check because they couldn't even see what was happening with him. They couldn't. But you could tell that he was sick. But whatever it is that was happening with him, no one could see. And then they tried by all means, and then we stayed there. We stayed there for the whole night. The whole night. And then we came out on Friday because different doctors came. They couldn't even see what was happening with him. And then we came out. We went back home on Friday.
And Yena, what is he complaining about? What is he? Where is it so?
Yena, he's saying it's the whole body. He doesn't even mention any part which is painful. He's just saying it's painful. Where? He doesn't even know where it's painful. But for him, the whole body was painful. The whole body was painful. And then that Friday, we were supposed to go to Serowe. There was a function that we were supposed to attend on a weekend. So unfortunately, we couldn't go. But my mother went. She left. And then she said, no, I'll go to that function. Then I said, no, I can't go because I have to remain here and see what is wrong with him. And then he said, okay. Then I said, but I'll be calling you. If anything happens, please, you should come back. But me now, on my own, I didn't want her to leave. I just wanted her to be with me, and then we see what was happening. And then we take it from there. And then in our hamba, she left. And then I was left with my husband. And then that Friday, when the sun, it was around, I think, about 4 or 5. There was something about him that was now happening. You know, he was decaying.
Decaying how?
Why senukukubola?
Had he taken some poison or something, anything?
Up to now. You know, if maybe the post-mortem had said poison, I was going to say it is. But
decaying?
Yes, he was, you know, he was rotting, but ehamba.
In those few hours?
In those few hours, this person is now not smelling good.
Huh.
You know, you're sitting there with him. There was this smell. You know, there's a different smell, but that smell is different. I know how a human being smells when he's about to die. There is this strong smell that stays with him. He was smelling like that.
I don't know. I don't know about that smell myself. I don't know.
Yes, but it happened to me.
Because my husband died in his bed, but I can't tell of that kind of smell. No, I didn't hear it. It's something that I'm hearing from you.
It happened to me. It happened to me. And
where are you now when all this is happening? Are you at hospital or you're home?
We were home by that time.
Hospital?
But the doctor told us to leave on Friday. We came back home. When we came back home, a few hours later, that's when he was starting to smell. He started to smell. And then I remember calling my mom. I called my mom, I called my dad, and then I told them, there's something happening here. My husband is smelling, but my mother-in-law was saying maybe kikhala, maybe inyongo, maybe inyongo, it out maybe maybe inyongo. And then I spoke to him, then I said, can we please, let's go back to the hospital. Then he said, you know what the doctor said? They told us to come back, and they only gave us medication. So I was giving him that medication, but that smell was not going. It seems as if it was now getting strong, more strong and strong and strong.
So then, then what happened? This is Friday.
This is Friday. And then that Friday, we slept. He slept. But you know the funny part? As much as he was smelling, he was strong, you know, strong. alive like a live
Because
person.
that pain, that sweating, what is happening?
That pain, that sweating, it's as if it disappeared for a while.
Kwasara, the smell.
Kwasara, the smell that he was smelling.
It was coming from the whole
From
body
the whole
or from
body.
the mouth. What is it?
Or even when he spoke, you could, the smell was coming out. More especially if he spoke, it came out a lot. It came out a lot.
Were you the only one, I mean, experiencing it, or everyone confirmed that is what they could tell about him?
People, they confirmed, the people who came to see, the friends from work, they confirmed, and even our neighbors, because we had our neighbor, I was calling him to come and check and see if everything is okay. And then he was coming to check. We could sense, we could smell that smell on him. But he was acting strong. But I realized that later on, when you look at him in his eyes, you would look the other way, the other side.
But he's not complaining of anything.
He's not complaining of anything. He's not. And then we slept. We slept well. Came Saturday. Saturday, we woke up, and then we had a backyard garden where we used to have morojo and stuff that we had at our backyard garden. And then he went to the garden, and then we spent time there. He was even digging, pulling weeds, doing everything that Saturday. Everything, checking the house, everything. And then we spent the whole day together that Saturday. It was okay. And then around 4, 5 that Saturday, 4, 5, I was like, I have a backache. I have this painful backache. Then I said, if a backache, what should we do? I think we should maybe go back to see the doctor. And then he said, no, when I want to go to the doctor, I'll tell you. When I want us now to go, I'll tell you. Don't call anyone, because there was this other neighbor that was around. He had a car. So I told him that if I just come there, please you take us to the hospital. Then he said, no, I'm fine. I just want to relax with you. I want you to tell me, what do you want? What do you want me to do for you? What should I do for you? And I said, okay. Okay, we started talking like a normal couple, like what a normal couple does. We talked about life, about everything, what I wish, what he wishes for me, and everything. And then later on, he said, you know what, let's go and rest a bit. Let's go and sleep a bit. And then after that, maybe if I'm not feeling well, we can go and see the doctor. And then we went to sleep. So when we went to sleep, in our room, we had a television set and a radio. We always played that soft music that we played before we slept. So when I wanted to do that, he said, no, today we have to be quiet. I don't want any noise. I don't want anything. We switch off the lights. No, you don't switch on anything. Let's be quiet. And I was like, okay. Today we are being quiet. Yes, today we are just being quiet. We closed the curtains, and it became so dark. When it became so dark, he said, now let's sleep. I remember there's a sleep that just came. There's this thing that comes like, it's, I don't know, in Setswana they say svitilit, whereby there's a sleep that comes to you by, that strong sleep that makes you sleep. Ulal, and then a strong sleep that comes to you. It just came to me like that. That deep one. It just came to me like that. And then, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden I just woke up. I just jumped out on the bed and woke up. And then it was dark. Then I went to switch on the light. When I went to switch on the light, what I saw, my husband was dead.
What?
Yes, he was dead. Now I have the courage to speak about. He was dead. He was just sleeping next to me. He was dead.
From the garden?
Yes.
You went into your bedroom?
Yes.
He says just switch on, switch off everything?
Yes.
And that was it?
And then when he was sleeping,
no struggle, nothing.
No struggle, nothing. I remember, when I switched on the light, I went to him. Then I said, you know what, when I'm okay, you can't do this to me. Because I could tell the posture that he was in.
Did you know death? Could you tell death that this is death or it's just sleep?
That one, it was different. Because his eyes were now like, he couldn't even...
He did not close them.
He didn't close the eyes. And his mouth was now open like this. He was like this. He like what we see on movies when people are dead, it happened to him. He was just sitting like that. I remember going to him, hitting him here. I think I hit him 3 times. 3 times on his chest. And then all of a sudden, he just came to life, just like that. And then when he came to life, what happened? You know, it was strange. Because when he looked at me, it's as if he didn't even know who I was. He was so confused. Confusion. And then...
What you call death, was it not just fainting?
Maybe it was fainting. I don't know. You know, when I think about it.
You know, you scared me. For a moment there, I thought that was the end. But then when he recited...
Yes, he came back. You know, every time when I tell my story, people, they always say, is this a Nigerian story or what? Then I said, no, it happened in real life. It really happened in real life. I remember when I was even writing the book, when I wrote about it, they had to edit some of the things. They were saying, no, we can't put this.
Because they don't happen in real life.
Yes, we can't.
Okay, let's go. So then when you said this is a 3-day story, we're on day 3?
Yes.
And this is Saturday?
Yes,
Saturday
we are
afternoon.
on that Saturday. That Saturday afternoon, we were in the garden, and then we spent the whole day like a normal couple. And then we went to sleep.
And then that's when
he just passed on that Saturday. And then around midnight, about 12, 1.
When he came to, did you ask what was happening? Did you not think of rushing him to hospital?
That Saturday again?
Eh.
No,
when you hit him in the chest.
When I hit him in the chest, that's when I had to wake him up. When I woke him up, then I said, what is happening? What is happening? What is now happening to you? Why are you like this all of a sudden? You know, he got so energetic. He got so energetic. Wapume peten, wapuma wahamba. But you know what, Fortune? I was resting. You are now disturbing my sleep. Why did you wake me up? I was resting. Please let me rest. And then he just came out of the bedroom. Then I said, you know what? I'm going to call everyone now. I'm going to call everyone. I don't know what is happening. I'm going to tell the neighbors you are scaring me. And then he said, you can do anything, but please don't call my mom. You can do anything, but please don't call my mom. And then I said, okay, please, can you come back? When he came back in our room, then he said, please, can you give me a bath? Imagine, it was midnight. I had to bath him. And then he said, cook for me. Then I cooked for him. And then he said, I'm going to eat. When I eat, I want you to be by my side. We eat together and do everything together. And then after this, you go to the neighbors, you call them, and then we go to the hospital. Then I said, no, yes, it's fine. I'm geza, I'm pegela wadla, just a bit. And then after that, I prepared him so that we go back to the hospital to see the doctor again. So by the time we were preparing, I think it was around 1, 2, on a Sunday, early morning Sunday, early hours of Sunday. And then I called the neighbor, and then he was preparing to come and take us so that we go back to the hospital. And then he said, you know what I told you? Whatever happens, please don't call my mom. Then I said, oh, okay. So you know what I did? He went to sit in the sitting room. Then I went in the lounge. Then I took the phone. Then I started calling everyone, telling everyone that there's something weird which is happening with him. I don't know what is happening, but he's just being weird. And when we were sleeping, something happened. He slept as if he was someone who was dying. What was happening, I don't know. And then I remember my mother-in-law saying, please, can I talk to him? Then I gave him the phone. Then I said, someone wants to speak to you. Then he said...
You didn't tell him it was his mom?
I didn't. So when I gave him the phone, when he saw who was, then he said, I told you not to do this. I told you. Then I said, no, but
she deserves to know.
She deserves to know. She needs to speak to you. So by the time when I gave him the phone, they spoke. I think they only spoke for maybe 3 minutes or so. By the time when he was done speaking, waphela. He started getting confused. Waphela. And then some paramisa, and then we took him. Then he said, you know, let's go out, and then we go in the car and take you to the hospital. You know, the neighbor was helping me. Sathi siphuma naye egate-ini. Sifika nje egate-ini wabe sithi woza lapha wozombamba. And then I held him, ngimbambile laphana. Wasesithi, I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry. Me business it, no, please preserve the energy. Let's go, it's okay, let's go. But no, I'm sorry. I didn't want this to happen to you. I'm very sorry. Waphelela khonapho.
Ah. At the gate?
At the gate.
So that's when your husband died for real this time?
For real this time. Waphelele gate.
You proceeded. Did you realize it this time, or you just thought that previous incident was repeating itself?
You know, to me...
You knew what was happening, or you were still in that confusion?
I was still in that confusion, because I was even feeling him, he was warm. Then I said, let's rush, he's warm. I remember when we got to the hospital, when we told them that, when they saw that it's us again, they now knew us. And then they said, you know what, take the wheelchair. And then we put him there. The neighbor went to take the wheelchair. Then I was trying by all means to remove him in the car. He was so heavy. I tried by all means to drag him, putting him on the wheelchair. And then I managed. And then we rushed him to go to the reception so that they take the cards. Yes. By the time when I got there, when I was sitting there, the nurse came. And then he looked at me, and then he looked at my husband. And then he said, my daughter, come here. Then I went to him. Then he said, come. He gave me a hug. Then he said, I'm sorry. Then I said, what? I came with my husband. We came. And then he said, no, we know you. We know you were here. But I'm sorry. But this time, he's gone. Just like that.
3-day story.
Yes.
3-day story. And okay, so your mother-in-law is not there?
Yes.
And your parents are not there?
Yes.
Who did you have apart from the neighbor?
I had this other lady, a friend of mine who was also there, who came with me.
At the hospital?
Yes, she came with me at the hospital. She was helping out. And then by the time when they told me the news that he had passed on, there's this boardroom that we went in where they take you. They go and counsel you. They make you sit there so that you revive
Did it
yourself.
make sense? Did it make sense, them telling you like that, in their counseling you that your husband is gone?
No, it
did you
didn't.
not try to argue that he did this earlier on? I think it's just one of the episodes. You didn't try to argue what was going on. Do you remember? Do you recall anything?
I remember when they put me in the boardroom, then I said, you know what, wait, I'm coming. I want to go and see the doctor. I came out. Then I said, doctor, I want to go and see my husband. I remember I was holding him. He was okay. He cannot just die just like that. So he was in this other room, in this other room where he was, they'd covered it. At the hospital, they'd covered him. Then I went inside. When I went inside, I opened it, and he was there. And by the time when I went to try to resuscitate him, to wake him up, foam was coming out of his mouth. And then I called the doctor and I said, please come, maybe he's okay, something is happening. By the time when they got there, they said, no, we are sorry, my daughter. So sorry. It came out a lot, and it came. And then they were like saying, no, he's gone. We can't. He's gone. We tried our best, he's gone.
Did postmortem then later reveal what it was that had happened to him?
It said it's body imbalance.
What's that?
When in my book, I even wrote it and said, there's this thing that I'm still researching about it. They said it's body imbalance. They said, his body parts, they couldn't function well. It's like his body parts were tired. And I was like, what do you mean they are tired? They couldn't function well. They couldn't contain it anymore. They were just tired. So they just had to shut down.
Did he have a previous record of any health issues?
No.
It started that Thursday?
That Thursday.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. How old were you then?
By that time, I had just turned 34.
Yes. Yeah, you were still a baby.
A small baby.
Hey, 34. Some 34-year-olds are not yet married.
Yes.
And were already, that's when you were widowed. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. How are the kids? And where are they? How old were they then?
My firstborn by that time was 14. And then the young one was 10.
Yeah. 10.
Yes.
And you are in a foreign land.
I'm in a foreign land. My parents are
Tell
far.
me about that. Tell me a bit about that.
I'm in a foreign land. My parents are far. They're here in Zimbabwe. I'm there in Gaborone. Oh, it was the most painful thing ever. It was the most painful thing. You know, if my mom was around by that time, I think it was going to be better. She was not. She was too far. They were still preparing to come. You know, so
And what's happening now with your in-laws and this sudden death? What's happening here?
Sunday, when they discharged us, the following day, the Sunday, I came home about 8. When I got home.
You say when they discharged, did you sleep over at the hospital?
Yes, I slept at the hospital. Yes, I slept at the hospital because they were checking me if my blood pressure was okay, if everything was okay.
Wow.
Yes, and then the following morning when I came back home, you know, the setup which was home is the one that, by that time when I got home, that's when I realized that my husband is dead. Because when I got inside the house, the furniture was not there. There was a mattress for me to sit on. There were people now, you know, when they saw me, everyone started crying. That's when I realized that, so this
thing is
gone.
real.
It's real now. He's gone for real. He's gone for real. And then my in-laws, they came around about 9. And then when they came, that's when everything started, the funeral, everything started. But now the atmosphere was different. The atmosphere was different. You could tell that even the way people now were looking at me, it was different.
Oh, how so? What do you mean?
It was so different in the sense that, you know, people that I knew that I knew 3 days ago, they were now different. They were now treating me different.
As in caring for you?
Yes, they were now treating me different. You know, you could tell that now the way the funeral was like, we had to sit, the two of us, me and my mother-in-law, we sat on the mattress, the two of us. And when everyone was coming for condolences, they will come to my in-law and say, we are so sorry, we are so sorry. You know, we didn't know that these things like this can happen. You know, we always told you about foreigners. They are very bad. We always told you about this. We always said this thing. But look at what has happened. Look at what has happened. Look at where we are now. Where is our relative? There she is. You know, it's something that is so painful that people, they just say it raw as it is. You just lost your spouse. And then people now, they just show you their true colors. There and they know they're not even being remorseful. They are showing it to you right there.
They're accusing you of killing your husband.
Right there and there. Before I even process it in my head, what is happening? Bonet, they have concluded already. They have concluded already.
So how did the whole funeral go with all those accusations?
You know, God is great. It went. You know, I had to be brave. Because I remember that day my parents came. They came at night. And when they came, it was now a different setup. You know, people tried by all means to pretend as much as possible. You know, so that the funeral can go on. You know, it was on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then my husband was buried on a Friday.
Oh, okay. The culture there is slightly different from our culture, right?
Yes.
Okay. They do a week? A week of mourning?
A week of mourning.
Okay.
Yes.
One day we'll talk about that culture.
Yes.
But today I want us to go to the book with a few minutes that are left. I want us to have a look at your book, and maybe you know, the funeral is it's a process on its own.
Yes.
It's a story, like from what you are saying. Were there any investigations, post-mortem? What was it? Like you said, up to now, the post-mortem report just said...
That is body imbalance. You know, during that process, when my husband passed on, the investigations that happened, I was the one who was being investigated. I was investigated by the CID, There were lawyers, criminal lawyers that were investigating me. People were asking around if there's something funny that maybe people saw, or if there's anything that they saw that was funny, so that they can create a case against me. Yes.
You are grieving and you are being investigated.
I'm being investigated. I was investigated. And
were you called to the police camp, or the investigations were done in a manner that you didn't pick this was investigation, or people were just asking questions like I'm asking questions?
I was not called to the police. I could tell, CIDs, we know them. You know that, here, these are CIDs. The way people around me were being investigated. And there was this criminal lawyer that I know, family criminal lawyer, that used to come home. He used to come to look at me, in the morning, in the afternoon, and when the sun sets, to see how my movements were like, asking people around. And neighbors used to tell me that there are people who are asking them questions around about what happened, was this couple okay, trying to find glitches here and there.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. It's been how many years now?
Now, ever since he passed on, it's 6 years now.
It's 6 years now.
Yes.
And when did you write this book? Since it's been 6 years gone, how long did it take for you to start thinking of writing it? And why did you think of writing a book? What was it? Was it the pain, or a way of trying to explain yourself, or lessons for others? What is it that inspired you to write your book?
This book took me 2 years to write. And when I wrote this book, I wanted to remove that pain, that confusion that I had, because the way my husband passed, it was different. If he had cancer or maybe any disease, I was going to be comfortable. But with my kind of situation, I wanted people to see that there are certain things that we widows go through. When we go through them, I want people to mirror them and see that, when these things happen, we get confused. We don't know what is happening. We are grieving our husbands, but we go through a lot. Widows, they go through a lot. And imagine, by that time I was young. You were. You still are. I'm still young. I don't even know what is happening around me, but I'm going through these things. I'm experiencing grief.
How did you then go through all those things? Where was your strength coming from? Other than being a Christian, did you have anyone to support you, who understood you, who believed your story, or it was just you and your story?
God is great. In my book, there is a pastor that I acknowledged there. My pastor from Botswana. I remember when my husband passed, he at the funeral, he said, when you have time, Mrs. Ntsosa, please, when you have time one day when you're strong enough, please, you should come to church. I need to speak to you. I can't come here, but I need you at church. I really need to speak to you. And then when I went to church, that's when he set me down. And then he told me that, in life, there are things that adults we see, but we cannot talk about. But there are two things that I want you to realize. Now that you're a widow, I want you to be a very, very strong widow. Be strong for yourself, be strong for your kids. And the second thing, please don't be a blind widow. Mourn your husband, yes. Cry, do everything, but don't be blind. Be very careful of what is happening around you. When you're a blind widow and never stop praying, God is going to be there. If you need our help as a church, we'll be there. We can see a situation which is happening, but we can't just come there and just say things that, that will make us to fight with the family. But please, we'll always pray for you.
You, outside this interview, I know that at one point your children were taken away from you.
Yes.
What was that? What caused that?
By the time when investigations were done, the family came to have a family meeting, and then that's when they sat down, and then they said that as a family, we sat down, and according to our investigations, you are the one
who killed.
You are the murderer. So for us to live a peaceful life, I think now this is the end of our journey. You go your own way, and then we continue with our lives. But when we say you are going your own way, you are going to go the way you came here. You came with nothing here. You are going to just go back with nothing. And when we say you are going to go back with nothing, you are not taking the kids with you. You just go back the way you were. You came here.
So they took the kids away from you?
Yes, they took them away.
How long after was that conversation or that incident where they took away the kids from you? How long after you had buried your husband?
My husband died in June. July. I only mourned him July. And then end of July, because the first week of August, that's when I left Botswana. Yes. I never got time to mourn my husband. You know, in Botswana, when you mourn, it's a 6-month period that they give you. I never had that privilege.
So you left Botswana. You had gone to Botswana through marriage?
Yes.
So you left Botswana after that meeting?
Yes, after that meeting. The day when they had that meeting, it was at night. And I remember packing my bags. After packing my bags... You
did not try to fight for your kids or anything?
I tried.
You were outnumbered?
Yes, I tried. And when I tried fighting, that's when they told me that, you know, whatever it is that you are going to try to do, we have spoken to the police. And my family it's a family that some of the members of the family, they're in government. So they used that to their advantage that, you know, we have government officials in our family. We can do anything. Yes, we can do anything with you. If you try to fight this, anything can happen to you. Imagine I'm vulnerable.
Did your kids understand you leaving them with their other family?
No.
How did you leave? How did you just leave, or you told them you sat your children down and told them, or they were part of the meeting, they heard all these accusations?
They saw what was happening. And an incident had happened before that, you know, my young son was poisoned, and that poison was supposed to be given to me. So when
how so? Tell me. This story, like you said, people think it's a Nigerian movie.
Yes.
I'm actually lost for words to say exactly what. I don't know. It's such a bizarre story. Yes. But when you had that meeting, that family meeting, your kids were part of the meeting, or you had to tell them this is what was going on, or one of the family members talked to the kids?
My kids knew what was happening because it's something that was being said almost every day. That was being planned almost every day. They knew that it was, there's a time that this was going to come to life. They knew. They knew.
And then you talk about the poisoning that was intended for you.
For me. You know, there's this other day that I had gone to church. When I came back, you know, that day, it's so funny when I think of it, because when I came to church that day, there was food that was even prepared for me. Oh, it was so, you know, prepared in a nice bowl. I remember that day. It was in the kitchen.
It was brought to your home?
Yes. The food was there, prepared for me. And then they even told me that there's food in the kitchen. When you know, you just came from church. If you're hungry, please go and take the food. It's in the kitchen. And I said, okay, I'll try by all means, but you know I'm having this problem because I was having ulcer problems. I couldn't stomach any food. And I said, I'll try by all means. Then I said, please try to eat, you know, so that, you know, we don't want you to be sick. I was like, oh, okay. And then I went in my room. When I went in my room, my young baby, my young son came, and then he said, Mom, I'm hungry. You know, is there anything that I can eat or something? Then I said, you could just go and check in the kitchen. And then that's when he went in the kitchen. When they saw the food, he ate the food. So by the time when we were now relaxing later on, he started, you know, sweating. You know, his eyes were coming out. So he was acting very weird, very funny. And then I rushed, and then I called my mother-in-law. Then I said, there's something happening with my baby. You know, there's something happening with Maulohi. I don't know what it is. Then I said, what is it? Then he said, I don't know, but after eating, when I ate the food, something is happening in my tummy. I think he said, I think my intestines are rotting or something like that. And then by the time when he mentioned the food, oh my God. Oh, the family was like, what? You ate your mother's food. That was not supposed to be your food. That was your mother's food. I was like, okay. What is happening now? I remember that time when everything was happening, when that drama was happening, I called my dad. I called my mom. I called my relatives, friends, everyone. Then I said, you know what? There's another funeral which is going to happen again. You have to come back and prepare to come back. As we speak, your grandson, he's dying in my arms right now. He just ate food, and then that food that he ate, he can't open his eyes. He's sweating. Something weird is happening to him. After that phone call that I made, we rushed him to the hospital. Now I remember by the time when we rushed him to the hospital, they checked him, they drained the poison. When they drained the poison, they said to me, this is a police case. This is a police case. We have found traces of poison in the baby's tummy. So we are calling the police. We are going to report this. You tell us what happened. Then by the time when I removed my papers, when they saw, I showed them my husband's death certificate. And then I told them what happened. And I said, please, this is going to be another case on top of another case. And if I start narrating what happened now, this time they will kill me right in front of everybody. This time it's me now dying. It's me now dying. And then they called my mother-in-law. They told her what was happening. Then she said, no, we don't know what happened. She tried by all means to cover everything up. And then me as an adult, that's when I saw that, now this is too much. If I continue... So
you refused for the police to take it up?
To take it up. Because I knew that if I continue with them, they were going to fight me left, right, and center. We were fighting at home. Day and night we were fighting. I was taken to courts. I was coming back. It was just a mess. It was horrible. It was just a mess.
And you were being taken to court on the accusations that you killed your husband?
I was taken to court because they wanted the
money.
The properties.
And you lost all that?
Unfortunately, they took all those things.
Yes. They took the keys. They took everything that you had worked for.
But one thing that they couldn't manage to get their hands on, it's money. And money they wanted. But unfortunately, they couldn't get.
That's all you came out with?
That's all what I came out with from that. Only the money. Properties and everything.
They took. I'm sorry, Fortunate. Okay, we seem to be running out of time, but there's a lot more story in your story. And I think we will need part 2, and there's a lot to tell. This book has how many chapters? I see it's got so many chapters and so much. There's so much that I would like us to look at out of the, 35 chapters. Yes. 35 chapters.
Yes.
Okay. You talk about, chapter 7 talks about widowed. What is a widow in your own, maybe according to your...
Yes.
What is it that you mentioned there? I think I want to hear a little bit more about the children.
Yes.
Yes, but what is it that children in mourning, chapter 20, that caught my eye, but yes.
People when they say a widow, I say them, people when they say a widow, long time ago people used to say a widow is someone who is old and someone who is called a witch or someone who is a prostitute. They get scared of you and say, this is a widow. People, they stay away from you. They isolate themselves from you because they'll be scared because you are now a widow. And they think that is contagious. That if I sit next to you, tomorrow I'll wake up a widow. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. I tried by all means to make people see and understand what a widow is.
What is a widow?
But a widow,
help us understand.
Yes, a widow to me, it's a woman now who has a half heart. A half heart now that was, the other part was taken because of love. Yes, she lost her husband. But the other part that she has, it's still surviving. It still has that love. A widow to me, it's a woman who is not a curse. But she's a blessing in
You are not cursed. But yeah, widowhood is not a curse. And it?
It's not a case.
Okay. I think it will take for us to read
Yes.
these 35 chapters to understand. And I think it's not such a big book, right? The chapters are not very long. I like that.
Yes.
And I also think it's a book that has interesting chapters, 35 of them.
Yes.
The sudden death, the wonderful words of life, how it all started, learning to forgive. Who were you forgiving now?
I was forgiving my past. You know, when we grow up, Sevan, we have a past. I have a past that I had. When I grew up, I didn't grow up with my parents. So to me, it's a pain that I grew up with. It's a past that I was learning to forgive. Forgiving my past, and then I never got organic love when I was growing up. Love, the real love. I never had that. You know, love whereby parents would be cherishing you. I never had that. Yes, I never had that. And I got that when I...
But you mentioned father and mother calling them. What does it... What are you saying? You are calling them separately?
Separately.
But they are coming to the same...
to the same funeral.
All right.
Yes, yes. I experienced organic love when I got married. Yes, that's when I started experiencing love, knowing that there is love, you know. I grew up bitter. I was one person who was bitter. Yes, because
now you find your organic love and it disappears.
And then it disappears again. Now I'm like, I was learning to forgive my past. Now this happens again.
And there was some forgiveness also to go through.
Yes, yes.
I think, you know what, do you think you're available for part 2?
Yes, I am.
When can we do part 2?
When you are available.
All right. Okay. I think we need part 2 because I still have a lot of questions from. I also just need to go through the book a bit, and you know that will help me to direct my questions to the point, because you know with our viewers and listeners, they want the whole story, and there are some missing links from the way we have been telling this story. So I think we need to fill in a few gaps and tell us where you are now, which we are not going to talk about today. Where you are now and some of your challenges that you met along the way and how you've recovered. What happened when you left Botswana? Where did you go? And what's been your journey like as a widow? We want to hear all that. So I think we'll leave that for part 2. But today, maybe just before we go away, you talk about children in mourning in chapter 20. What is it that you're saying? And maybe you can just also then tell us where people can find this book, so that even as we are doing the story, people are already reading the book. Yes, where do they find the book? Before we leave, please, we'll need to address that. But for now, tell me a bit about children in mourning. Yeah. You
know, it's a topic that I touched on when I looked at orphans. There's a time.
Is it a topic that is related to how your children mourned, or it's just a general topic?
There's something that happened for me to write that, because I remember when I was now doing the insurance papers. They said now there's money that we need to give the orphans. They called my kids orphans. And I was looking at myself, I was like, but I'm there. I even said, but I'm there. They said that's how we say it. They are now orphaned, and there's a package that they get. So I had to sit down and look at myself, and then I looked at my kids, and then I had to I researched further about that. And then I had to write about other orphans out there, and looking at my kids' situations. And I had to write about how God embraces orphans and widows.
Wow.
How he loves us.
Wow, he does. He does. Okay, Fortune, your story is very inspiring. Not just inspiring. It's scary. It's unbelievable. It's so surreal, but it's real. And like I always say, everyone has a story. And someone went through this, or they're going through this. And I think we need to do part 2 of your story. I will not preempt, but about where you're coming from. After you left Botswana, where did you go? What happened? At which point did you write the book? Where are the children? Did you recover your children? What's your relationship with your in-laws now? Are you married yet? Or what are you doing for survival? But maybe before we go offset, what I need for our viewers and listeners is for them to know where they can get hold of this book, powerful book.
The this powerful book, I managed to get it in of 8 in Harare.
Here in Harare.
Yes, there's a branch in George Silindika. Yes, you can find it there.
And how much is a copy going for?
It's $25.
$25. Okay. Ndondiro yeshirikazi kai anti mazvinzwa. She needs to look after herself and her children, and she has given us this powerful book for us to look at so that we get the full story. Is your story here in its entirety, or
Yes.
or there's a full story here?
Yes.
Awesome. Saga, if the story is here, please get hold of this. Even if we don't give you every detail, get Oko online.
Yes, I also have the book copies as well. And then you can find me on my WhatsApp number is +267 740 13674. +267 740 13674.
Ndo namba dzaFortune idzo. Musazondibvunza kuti anowanika kupi namba ataura. Inini dzangu, if you want to bring a story, if you want to comment on this story, it's 078 9922 179. My name is Mrs. Ngwenya, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming, and we can't wait to hear part 2. We look forward to seeing you in part 2. May God bless you. Let me pray with you, for you, and for all the other widows, young widows out there. There's one thing that is amazing, Namwari. Kuti we tell our stories smile. Zvinorwadza zvacho takutogona kuzvitaura. I know there's some widow out there asati agona anotoshamiswa kuti saka ndichazoitawo brave here kudai. They want to know the secret. Saka when we come, please let's remember to give them the secret. Yesimba redu kuti zvinobva papi, zvinowanika papi, and one simple one is that if you join a group of other widows, you become strong. And just joining a support group, just holding hands with other widows, you find your strength there. Saka, may God bless you. Let us pray. Eternal loving Father, we thank you, we honor you, we praise your name above every other name. We thank you for allowing us to have this conversation in Fortune. Father, it's not an easy conversation, but you allowed us to have it. And tenda kuti you held our emotions. You know, when we look back, shame out how did we survive those moments. But here we are as testament of your hand of mercy upon our lives. We continue putting our trust in thee, knowing that you are able to keep us from falling and to present us faultless on that glorious day as we await to see your soon coming and restoration. Nekuona vadikani vedu vatakarasikirwa nao. Toda kutenda Mwari nokuti mune nyasha dzinoshamisa. Please comfort every widow ari kuchema shamwari yake. Comfort everyone akarasikirwa nevadikani wavo. It's not just widowhood that makes us cry, but every loss, because you never intended for human beings to die, but to live forever. But nokuda kwechitema tozati we pari kufiwa. Saka takamirira kuuya kwenyu kuzogadzirisa nyaya dzedu dzekufirwa nehama dzedu, vadikani, vana mai, vana baba, vana, because not only women are losing, everyone is losing someone they love. Saka, we pray that you may continue to comfort your children. We ask all this trusting in the mighty name of our Lord and soon coming Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Hello.
Hello, is that Pastor Makuire?
Yeah, I'm Pastor Makuiri.
Can I come and see you?
Yes, you can come. You can come.
Are you available in the next hour?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm available. I'm available.
Pasirinondere makuwa rakatu kwandari venga rakazara nekuvengana nerufu haruperi kugomera nekurwara hazviperi Mwari nditore handioni chandinogarira chiuyai munditore ndamirira imwe Jesu ndakumirira ndichiri kuda kuona kakwedenga ndamirira imwe Jesu ndakumirira ndichirikuda kuona kuna kakwedenga zuva renyu rekuyatenzi ranonoka ndingarare ngandigare ndiri mamuri ndizadze nekutenda kana rufu rwaisvika daindairara muruoko rwenyu handioni chandinogarira chiuyai munditore ndamirira imwe Jesu ndakumirira ndichirikuda kuona kuna kakwedenga ndamirira imwe Jesu ndakumirira ndichirikuda kuona kuna kakwedenga handioni chandinogarira chiuya munditore ndamirira imwe Jesu ndakumirira ndichirikuda kuona kuna kakwedenga ndamirira imwe Jesu ndakumirira ndichirikuda kuona kuna kakwedenga handioni chandinogarira